putting aside the problems with the just term divisive concepts, I mean, these are divisive concepts, right? And anybody who's actually read anything about critical race theory wouldn't possibly teach any of these, right? And so it's putting up the straw person argument about what critical race theory is and what teachings on anti-racism is, you know, and all that. So, one race or sex is inherently superior to another or sex. I hope nobody who calls what they're doing critical race theory is teaching that. I mean, of course not. So,
yeah.
You know, if this law is passed, I'm not going to change a single thing that I'm doing, right? But that's not because I'm protected by the university or anything. It's just that I'm not doing any of these things, right? But I mean, I would love to. I mean, if this law were actually passed, I mean, develop some guidance and say, like, you don't have to stop teaching race. You know, you don't have to stop teaching, you know, about any of these things. What you do have to do is, you know, take a look at what you're saying and the claims that you're making and make sure you're not doing this. But we should be doing that anyway, right? You know, I just want, you know, this is a propagandistic effort to frame the conversation, not a particular threat around being able to teach on race or gender, you know, or anything like that. It's very sophisticated, but it's you know, it's vacant for people who are doing these things with any kind of or teaching on these things with any kind of sophistication, I think.
So I would say the same thing that you said. I don't think that I would have to change anything in the way that I approach my teaching when it comes to race, when it comes to other systemic inequities. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. Go.
I would just offer one more thing, is that, you know, it's maybe a good reminder for those of us who at least want to be, you know, want to have our compasses pointed in the direction of anti-racism, just to remind ourselves that you can do it poorly, right? I mean, you can, you know, I mean, you can teach anti-racism poorly in a way that maybe toes the line on some of these, quote, divisive concepts a little too much. You know, I mean, if you have somebody, you know, with an audience who's saying, you know, if you're white, you should feel guilty about being white or something like that, in a really sort of flippant way, that they're wanting to have a conversation about, you know, anti-racism, but that's not a very sophisticated way to do it, right? And that opens up the sort of the project, right, to these kinds of vulnerabilities, right? So, you know, that, you know, that, I mean, that's a you know, that might be a real issue, you know, that you know, that folks should look at is, you know, let's not assume this is all high quality, right? So
no, I think you're right.